Hey everybody, Mr. Traveler here, coming to you live from Anna Marie Island. Just kind of hanging out on the beach today, taking it easy. No Mrs. Traveler today. She overdid it on the Carnival Victory last weekend and got sick. So she's not with us today. So we'll do our best to try to carry on without her, but we didn't want to miss a Hot Topic Thursday. So we're just hoping that she feels better soon. And didn't she do a good job on her tour? Her first solo tour without me. All right, guys, so let's get right on to it. We got a few good topics this week. Let's go. All right, so our first question comes from one of our subscribers and one of my customers too, Cheryl. And she replies, it's Cheryl. My friend just got back from Royal Caribbean cruise to West Caribbean, and she was robbed while in port. Someone stole a bunch of her stuff, even her trinkets she bought as gifts, all from her stateroom. Is there any way to keep them from getting into your room? That's a great question. And first of all, let me preface this by saying that this is a very rare event, and so let's cover it in a couple different ways. Number one, let's talk about the staff. Theft from the crew is very far and few between. Those guys really go through a lot to get on the ship. A lot of these people are working on the ship and sending the money back home to provide for their family. And they don't want to lose that opportunity, because I'm sure not only will they be off that ship, but they'll probably be blackballed from the other cruise lines as well. So, very rare that I would say that it's actually the staff that are involved with that. Miss Traveler and I have accidentally left stuff out, like our diamonds and watches and stuff like that before, and they've never been touched. Those guys know that it's not worth it. Is that in every case? No, I can't say it's in every case, but I think that that's very rare and outside the norm. What I think is probably more likely what happened, and this is just a good learning lesson for everybody, is when you leave your cabin room, make sure that the door is locked and secured. Hotels, cruise ship cabins alike, double check the door, because there's sometimes when the doors do not lock. We were at a Hilton one time and the door didn't lock. I mean, it closed and you could hear it latched and everything, but it was one of those electronic locks and you could walk right back in the room. And it broke on us several times during the same stay. We actually ended up getting the stay for free by the time it was all said and done. But even in the cruise ship cabin, you think the door is closed, and it sounded like it meant closed, but it didn't, and you can actually push the door open. So you always double check the door when you leave. Make sure it's locked and secured. Alrighty. So thank you so much, Cheryl, for the question. Great question. So we have another question from Protected Precious Youth. I love the name. They ask, just pondering, I have a cruise to Mexico scheduled this summer, and I'm a bit skittish about going on now, about the U.S. is building a wall. I know that it's up to my discretion whether or not to proceed with my plans. Just wondering what were you and Mrs. Traveler's thoughts on the matter. Thanks. Okay, I think that's a very great question. And here's my take on it. All these islands and different locations that you go to thrive on tourism. Their livelihood is tourism. And they're not going to let anything interrupt that flow of cash coming into the room. They're going to do what they got to do to make sure that there's not problems. In my mind, if they're building a wall, what's really the difference now? They've got a fence there now. They've got natural land borders. People are not supposed to come from across the border illegally, as it is now. So you're building a wall. How's that really going to change things in my mind? Just a personal, I think people are still going to figure out a way around the system. I don't think it's going to really pose a security threat to us in the cruise industry and the travel industry at this time. I just don't see it. They make a lot of money on tourism, and they're going to protect that at all costs. So that's just my opinion on the matter. I could very well be wrong. Why don't you guys comment below? Tell us what you think. Great question, by the way. That goes for any events that are happening in the world. There have been times, for instance, let's take the recent thing at Fort Lauderdale. the travel agents, the cruise lines, whoever will put out alerts to their customers to let them know, hey, here's what's going on. I'm quite sure that there was quite a few people that missed their vacations and their cruises because of what happened with the Fort Lauderdale incident. Yeah. You know, that happened on the weekend, so I'm sure that there was people flying in for their cruise, and they more than likely they probably missed their cruise. So you know, that's something that you want to consider. Things can happen. And you know, this is another reason why we say fly in early. It's another great reason to have travel insurance too, I guess. That definitely would have been a qualifying event right there. So thank you so much for the question. All right, and the final question for today, I actually have two people with kind of the same concern, Kathleen Hudson and Shannon Morgan. Kathleen says, Mr. Traveler, she basically wants to know about good single cruises. And Shannon said the same thing. I second that. Where can you shed some light on solo cruising? So I think that that's a really good question. The best cruise line for solo cruising is Norwegian Cruise Lines. Your Epic, your Getaway, the Breakaway, and the Escape all have solo cabins that are really good rates, and they cater specifically to solo cruisers in those particular cabins. So Norwegian is the best. Another good line for them is Holland America. Holland America has a lot of solo cabins, really great for solo cruisers. And Royal Caribbean's getting in on the game now. The Quantum, the Anthem, all those new ships that they've just came out with have the solo cabins as well. So I think that it's going to be a trend for the future ships in the cruise line industry is to start adding some solo cabins, because it seems to be a very popular demand. Now, that being said, if you want to do something outside the realm of that, it varies from time to time. Sometimes they'll have sales on them, sometimes they won't, depending on the cruise line, the time of year, how many people on the ship, that kind of a thing. If you're going to solo cruise on a regular cruise ship, they can charge you as much as 200%. So for easy math, let's say a cabin was $1,000 a person, for $1,000 for guest 1 and $1,000 for guest 2 for the base rate, and then you have your tax and your port fees. The solo cruiser would have to pay $2,000, but they'd only have to pay one set of tax and port fees. So it can be as high as that, and then sometimes they have sales where you might only have to pay 25% over, or pay 125% of the cruise fare. So you might only have to pay $1,250 in our same example, plus the tax and port fees. So I've seen them as low as 125% of the single cruise fare, and all the way up to 200%. So that's kind of the range, and it depends on what's going on. But for the biggest bang right now, Norwegian is the best line to go for the solo cruising. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this today. Group cruise is going well. We got a lot of cabins booked, and so if you want to go, reach us at sunshinecruise2018 at gmail.com. Life's short, guys. Have fun.